Greetings, everyone who's here, the members in the chat. We may have some mods show up from the Facebook group. Welcome, 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 and our patrons. Hope everybody's having a great day. I see you got deleted scenes in the chat. I believe that's Stephen Otten. How you doing? We got Mondo Bizarro. We got Of course, I don't think I can say that as well as you do.
No, but I can. Is here. And we're very happy about that. And for everyone else here,
And
which
Diego and
includes
Kit Kat.
Kit Kat, Diego Wild Rose. Well, she posted earlier and said she wished she could attend, but Canadian Thanksgiving. Is that today?
Must be. I have no idea.
Evidently it is.
And as Steven says, and here we go.
That's indeed. Right. No intro warning or anything, but that's how we roll.
Member stream.
Right? At least we're on time.
Yeah, it's a member stream.
Yeah.
We're long overdue for this. We apologize,
guys.
Yes,
I'm so very sorry. It's my fault because I haven't freaking had the voice for weeks. But everything will be coming now in short order. Norse mythology. We'll have another member stream very soon as well, because I feel we have some making up to do. So yeah, maybe we'll have another one later this week.
I was gonna say, yeah, we definitely got to do one on meat as well. So we might as well plan for something. We want to do something at a different time of the day to where we can help, bring in, for the international viewers and stuff like that, to where it's not such an oddball time. I mean, this is kind of one of the better times when just about everybody can join, but it's still the middle of the afternoon in some places, and middle of the night in others.
That's kind of like, yeah, exactly. Like, it kind of sucks if you're in Australia or Asia, and we do have some viewers there as well. But this time is generally good in the US and Europe.
Yes, so, but we did discuss that, and maybe this week or next week, and we'll try and do something that's more convenient for our international listeners, so we can actually broadcast and let people know that we're going to be doing it, so people actually show up. Because I wanted to do it real early in the morning today, and Andre's like, nobody will fucking be there.
Yeah, when you want to do it at like 6 o'clock in the morning, Central European time.
Yeah, my time it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. It's like, hey, it's bar time. Come on.
Yeah. And that's generally a very bad time for an international stream.
Well, it might not be. I never know. Well, we'll find out. Maybe we'll take a poll at some
point. We'll find out. We'll shift some around. We're going to have
an exciting
plenty more members exclusive streams.
We got Chrissy coming up on Monday. Chrissy Mayer is going to be back. It's been a while. We're glad to have her back, but we're going to get into the Chappelle stuff, which we haven't got to talk about. Now, you finally got to watch that, didn't you, Andre?
Yeah, I saw it yesterday.
So what'd you think? What's your first reactions to it?
It was frightfully disappointing.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't see the big deal. Like Sticks and Stones, that was his magnum opus, you ask me. But here it was his apology tour and his explanation. It was really all about the white man. It's like, okay, that's fair enough, I guess. But I thought it was like very much just him excusing himself.
I mean, I get kind of what you're saying, I guess, because here's my thing is, yeah, I agree. Sticks and Stones was funnier and probably more of a jab. To me, this felt like the B-side to that. It felt more focused. It was almost like a radio cut, but it had a new ending to it. You know what I mean?
It felt like I've gotten so much backlash and so much hate from the trans community in particular. So here is what I really mean. And of course, it didn't really help, because just hammering why he made that message, you had like some activist, like a co-showrunner of like Dear White People, came out on Twitter today and said that he would be boycotting Netflix until they remove that special and don't do anything more with him. Which only goes to show that this person evidently did not see a single thing he was talking about. And accused the same old accusations he was talking about. So I do understand why he would do it, but it was just, I thought it was like, yeah, it was just like too much on one topic, and kind of like him going and explaining his comedy after the fact, which is like, yeah, nice B-side, but it's just a B-side. It's no Black Album, let's put it that way.
No, that's fair. I mean, I felt it was a bit more focused than Sticks and Stones. Sure. I mean,
yeah, it was focused to its detriment.
I guess where I see where you're coming from to a point, because Nina felt a lot of the same way you did. I mean, everybody else I've talked to kind of felt more like I did, to where I felt like it it was a much more polished version of Sticks and Stones. I mean, I get where you're coming from with some of the stuff, but I felt like the crescendo was that ending, like that bit, because it was like quit punching down on my people, and he really
Yeah,
focused on it a bit
yeah,
more,
that was really good. Like that
like
thing about like you are now the ones that actually have the power here.
yeah,
You're the ones that everyone are bending backwards to. You suddenly got yourself some pretty decent institutional power right now. So quit
yeah.
punching down. Things have changed. I thought that was a really really good and powerful ending, but I think it would have been more powerful if that whole thing had been like a 10-minute segment in a standard act, as opposed to like a whole hour thing as it was right now.
I get you, and I mean, again,
Yeah.
it's a subjective thing, and I've said to people like, yeah, this is definitely not his best ever, but it's definitely because I
Well,
think it's going to be his last
not
one for a
everything can
while,
be.
and I just felt like it was such a. I mean, I guess it's hard to judge it on its complete own because to me, I feel like this and Sticks and Stones are like a companion piece, right? Like I feel like it is kind of all part of the same
Yeah, I can see that.
piece in a way, like like it's all one big album, and that's what I said, like this feels like the B side to that, like it's very similar but it has a little bit different takes to it, it's a little bit edited differently, like just kind of a different remix of it a bit, and I get where you guys are coming from, like that felt that way, but BK Panther asks, do your metrics show where your watchers come from? Andre pays attention to this kind of stuff. I don't know what all this number stuff means, so
Uh, our metrics, they show averages. We cannot see where any individual person is coming from. But for instance, we can see how many watch our videos, and the audience is divided between so many people from this region, so many people from this region, and so many people from this region. But we cannot see to any individual level. Only like gross numbers, averages, and percentages.
yeah, and I mean it kind of gives us like just a percentage from my
Yeah,
recollection. Yeah.
yeah.
You
And
got Chris.
so we do know that we have a very international audience watching. So yeah, that's always cool to see. Like we have like people from literally almost every country on Earth. Granted, not many people from every country, but there's like some representation in almost every country. In some places, that representation is like 5 people or something, but still.
It looks like Lindsay's here, and she's excited to see Chrissy on Monday. So are we.
Yeah,
So
that's gonna be
thank you for being
awesome.
here. We'll probably have you guys hop in here in a little bit. We got Zaz here as well, or Zach.
I would imagine.
I think yeah. Maybe you get to hop on and tell us how we're supposed to say it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll definitely send out the link here in a few minutes. But we just figured we'd take a few minutes to just kind of talk about how things are going. We got some plans for other videos coming up. I know Andre has a Dune video planned. We have a Halloween video coming
we have
this
a
week.
Halloween video, and I'm working on retrospectives for, let's see, Red Sonja, Kull the Conqueror, The Phantom, and kind of sort of Escape from New York. Although that's probably going to be included into something else.
Yeah, it's like an anniversary thing, but yeah.
So as I've been saying, like there have been a rut of scripted videos the last couple of months, and that's simply been distracted, and the day hasn't had enough hours. There's been so much other crap going on. Me being sick with the non-coof on top of everything else. So you're going to be getting a whole lot of scripted content very soon here. So Tom, just brace yourself.
Oh, lovely. Daryl asks, is it possible to join via phone? Yes, it is. But it's better if you have like a headset or something if you can, because then you can avoid the echo if possible. And just remember that every little noise you make translates over to the other side. So like if you're fumbling around with stuff, it's going to sound like
remember to mute,
yeah.
so we don't have to mute you. It's
or
always a good idea when you're not talking. Then hit that mute, because suddenly there's like someone calling you from the other room, and it's very tempting to answer yes, dear, straight into the microphone and stuff. So yeah.
But no, yeah, it's very possible. Some phones don't like to deal with StreamYard, but some don't.
Well, actually, here's the thing. It depends on which app you use. If you, for instance, open it in Messenger, it's not going to work at all. But if you take a copy, whatever link you have, and you put that, for instance, in Chrome, that works just fine.
Yeah. So anyhow, let's see here. What else do we have on the agenda before we start bringing people in?
I can't really think of anything. So let's
Yeah.
start bringing people in, unless you
Why
have
not?
something.
We only got like 9 people in the chat, so why don't we just throw the stream right into the?
Yeah, let's just throw the stream right in here, and we'll have another one of these later in the week. I know, like Doomcock, he has a celebration in 45 minutes, and I'm
Give or
sure
take,
plenty
yeah.
of people want to be there for that.
Yeah.
Diego wonders, have you had the time to take a look at Foundation, and will you cover it? I'm still at episode 3, and I'm not sure if I want to continue. It's not that it's bad, it's not enough Asimov. I want to check out Foundation. I just haven't had the time to see it. I barely have the time to see anything. I have read Foundation, but I feel I have to have like a refresher or something like that, because I remember the gist of it, but I don't remember it well enough that I would be able to give any kind of like fair assessment of the series, how it compares. So I have to do like a Cliff Notes read of at least the first book first.
Yeah, it's not something I'm real familiar with either. I mean, I know of it.
I'm more familiar with the robot books
Yeah,
than I am the
exactly.
Foundation books, because I only ever read the first Foundation book. I have them all, and I know that they eventually do cross over with the robot series, but I've only ever read the first Foundation book.
There you go. And we have our first person joining here. This individual has actually been on the morning show a few times, or at least once, I
Yes.
recall.
No, I think 2-3 times. Welcome. Been missing you in the morning shows.
Yeah,
Hi, how are you both doing today?
Oh, doing fine.
Doing all
Doing
right.
much better right now.
I've been listening to the morning shows, but I've had to turn some of it off because you were covering stuff I didn't want to know about yet because I hadn't seen the movies and
Oh, you mean like
Ah.
Bond
that.
and Dune and stuff?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to go see anything because I was having part of my house and my kitchen redone, and I just had to be here for this entire operation. You know, they ripped all this stuff out and then put stuff in, and it's been time consuming. And I was getting ready to go to New York City Comic Con.
Yeah, I was about to say, did you get to see Ghostbusters? Because that was like screened there, wasn't it?
It was, and I didn't get a chance to see it, unfortunately, but I would have loved to have seen that. It was, and you know, what's funny about Comic Con is that, you know, they've been scheduling a lot of events, but then canceling stuff at the last minute. And so I wasn't truly sure whether it was going to happen. And even after buying the tickets, you know, different events have been, you know, people have gone to events and they're like, no, we can't have it this weekend. But this one actually happened, so I was kind of surprised by it, and I was glad I went because it felt like a regular con. And I mean, it was amazing. It was so refreshing to go and see all the cosplayers and the artists and, you know, figures and everything. I mean, it was like cons are back.
I'm glad to
Awesome.
hear it. But this was in New York. Did you feel like the event was restricted in any way by the restrictions, so to speak, or was it?
Yeah,
all
I
good and well?
did. Well, the only thing that I didn't enjoy was the fact that they made us wear masks during the whole thing, and that was very uncomfortable. But that didn't stop me from, you know, walking around for 10, 12 hours practically uh, for 2 days in a row. And then I got so exhausted that I said, I don't think I can attend the rest of the con. But yeah, that mask wearing thing, it kind of felt very uncomfortable, and just kind of trying to look at different things and talk to people. But even cosplayers were wearing their masks. Everybody had them on. So, you know, we did it because we wanted to meet, but it just felt so good to see other people that, you know, enjoy what we enjoy. It was like, it was so satisfying to finally, you know, see artists and comics and, you know, all that good stuff. So I'm happy. I had a great time.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. So glad you enjoyed it, and I hope everyone had a
Yeah.
good time there in spite of it all.
I want to welcome our members at Stephen Otten there, I believe, right?
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Hey,
We also
Stephen,
have
how's it
BK
going?
Panther as well. How you doing?
Hey, BK, you're muted.
Well, we'll give him a second to figure that out.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you, did you run into any of the Geeks and Gamers crowd out there, or anybody like that?
Hey,
I
hello. Can
didn't.
you hear me?
Now we can hear you.
Now
Okay,
we can
cool.
hear you. Excellent. How are
Yeah,
things?
unfortunately, I didn't run into anybody from Geeks and Gamers, but I did run into 1/6 scale man, Leal, and his group of friends
Okay.
there. So that was kind of fun to see someone. And I did look, like I really looked, but I tend to move very quickly through cons. And
I don't know
you
how
know,
many
some
people were actually actual con though. That's the thing.
oh, okay.
I think they just showed up and then they're doing a bunch of like members things. And hello, Six, how you doing?
Hi, good. How are you?
Hey,
Doing all
greetings.
right. So yeah,
Okay, well,
we
I
were just,
killed the chat or
no,
killed
we were
the
just
stream.
I
Oh,
mean, we were just talking about Comic-Con in New York, but other than that, yeah. So how's everybody else doing? BK Panther, how's your voice coming through here?
Yeah, how's the mute button working?
It's good. I'm just I'm sort of used to this stuff through work. We go through a lot of telecommuting meetings and
Oh,
whatnot.
okay.
This software though is a little different, so I had to make sure all the settings were good.
Yeah,
It's a beast.
yeah, indeed. I think that StreamYard is really straightforward once you get used to it, compared with many others. So yeah, that's awesome. And Six, great to have you here. So great to see so many people here. How are things with everyone? Six, how are you?
I'm doing great. I want to say hi to Lindsay. I don't. Tom sent me the StreamYard link, but I don't have access to the chat, so I can't type anything.
That's
So hi,
okay.
Lindsay. Lindsay's my girl.
Yeah,
She should be able to hop
yeah.
into
She
the-
and if you can't see the chat, she
Yeah, I
says,
can see
"Oh,
it.
Six. Oh, okay,
I
perfect,
just can't
perfect,
type in there.
excellent."
Yeah.
And BK Panther, how are you? Tell us about yourself.
I'm good. I work. I used to work in New York on site, New York City, but now I'm telecommuting. So I live in New Jersey. So a lot, like I said before, a lot of my meetings and whatnot are done through Zoom or Microsoft Teams and whatnot. Good. I work for a hospital, so there are certain things going around there which aren't ideal, which you might have heard already, maybe not.
Yeah, I've been hearing like some mixed things coming from hospitals, like some mandates, people quitting, lots of stress, and everything like that. So, how's your experience with that? Hopefully, not too bad.
So I didn't want to take it. I was forced. I was obviously we all have the option to quit, which is not ideal. I've been at this hospital for over 22 years.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other people around. I don't know anybody personally, but I know that suspiciously a lot of people disappeared around the time when the mandate came around to where you're either get the shot, or you
Get out.
leave or you get fired. Yeah. So
Yeah.
those people, I'm guessing that they're one of the people who chose not to, because it's just kind of suspicious. Otherwise, people would just have a job for 5 years, whatever, and they stick around.
Right.
And our hospital has meetings regarding this, like just central, the hospital wide. They make it available to everybody to just join a Zoom meeting and whatnot. They give information. So the last meeting that I heard, which is probably 2 weeks ago, because I think the 27th was when we had to get at least the first shot. And they
Polly.
said, I think they said, hey, Polly. So I think they said there was like 3% that didn't get the shot, and they were either being forced to leave or they have some sort of exemption. With the exemptions, New York has a issue with that because the state decided to not allow the religious exemptions, and they were still allowing the medical exemptions. That means anybody who applied was in limbo. And so there was a federal judge that put a halt to that. And as far as I know, there's no set date to hear out both sides. I think maybe this month or next month that they're going to continue with that. But yeah, all those people who were approved for religious exemptions, they're in between. We don't know what's going to happen to them.
Wow.
I
that's
can
crazy.
completely empathize with you, BK Panther. I work in healthcare too, and I had until Monday to get my vaccine card sent in, and I just sent it this morning. I am 100% against mandated vaccines, although I did get mine last year.
Yeah,
But that was
I
my
mean,
choice for myself.
right. So I can remember the amount of times I've taken any type of vaccine on my two hands. And, I've never really needed anything other than the ones that you get as a kid for measles, and whatnot. But the flu vaccine, I've taken probably 5 times. And I remember twice as a kid and maybe 3 as an adult. And twice as an adult, I got sick afterwards. So I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna get some sort of sickness afterwards, why even bother taking it? So then I decided not to take it. Last year, I actually did take it, and I didn't get sick, so that was fine. So then I was pretty much waiting to, for that, any sort of actual COVID, specific vaccine to come out. And we were, our hospital was a skeleton crew. Only the clinicians who needed to be there. The research department wasn't there. All the programmers and the business people, they're all working from home. I'm
Looking good, Paulie.
There's that hat.
He's testing out his new camera, kids.
Actually,
Looks
I've
like he's
seen
gonna
him with a
work
hat
on
so
that.
often.
Well,
I've
hello, Daryl.
How's it going, guys?
That's a
Hello.
voice.
Yeah, he can do some announcements.
Yeah.
Hey,
great
Daryl, will you
Daryl.
say Rod Thunderheart for me, please?
What, do you want me to do it like Tom does with the nice
Yeah,
thunder
yeah,
heart?
but not in the
I've
gay
been
way that he
replaced
does
already.
sometimes. You have not, Tom. You're my number one.
No, we might have to have you do some announcement for the morning show, Daryl. Like,
I keep trying to get in on there, but we're construction, so I get to hear half of it at a time and then catch the rest later.
oh,
Yeah, you sound like you work construction.
yeah,
He's got a great voice.
that's what I'm saying. I'd love to hear him just introduce us. Like, now here's your host. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Sorry, got me put on the spot. A little embarrassed here.
No, that's
Sorry,
all right.
sorry.
Oh, well, that's what
Welcome,
we do here,
welcome,
put
and
people on the
Paulie.
spot.
So, Paulie,
Yes.
you're trying out the new camera.
Yeah. I'm actually standing up. I'm so excited because I got a new.
You just can't hide it.
Yeah, I'm about to lose control. My desk goes up and down like it's on hydraulics, yo.
One of those fancy ones.
You
It's
gonna
all
get some
hydraulics.
fuzzy dice too while you're at it?
So yeah, well, I'm just trying to get everything as R&B as I can. I love because R&B's camera and his
I know,
the big
he
monitor.
He's got it right in the right spot. I can't.
Yep.
I don't know how he does it.
Well, Mexican Iron Man gave me some advice, so I'm back home, and the desk came. What?
I don't like where mine is. It's like way up there.
Oh, yours.
Yeah,
right
I don't
there.
like it either.
Yeah, I know. But if I put it like right in front of me, it'll be like right
Yeah.
in front of my screen. So I gotta figure out what I can do with it.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with the setup. How's it look?
Oh,
Looks
it
good,
looks
Paulie.
awesome.
Looks
especially
good.
the hats.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah, I also have to say, just to conclude with BK there, like it's really messed up, and I'm sorry to.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry to observe what's going on there, and
Yeah,
well,
I mean-
I'm glad I'm in Norway. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it,
Yeah.
since you give out that information, and I don't have enough time to watch everything, but I know there are protests going around in like France and Hawaii,
massive.
and
It's
all over
I
the
mean
place.
All over.
it's not widely published. Wherever there's lockdowns, there's massive
Yeah.
protests.
I do want to take a moment though to welcome some of our members who have joined us. We got Eric Rune Madsen, welcome. We also have Eric Winberg as well. How you doing, buddy? I believe those are the only new people to have joined us since Lindsay, which we already said hello to. So I think we're caught up. Karen Prime, we did say C earlier, but I don't think we said hello to you, Karen. Hello, Karen. Sorry about that. And DJ Doina or Dina, is that how you say it? DJ Dina. Also, I want to make sure we say hello to all of our members who are listening. Thank you so much for being here. Please throw some up in the chat, even if you can't hop in the stream. We will do our best to answer all of your questions in the chat. And Eric Rung Madsen says I did a good job, Andre.
Yeah, you do. Because like he's Danish, so it's like a Norwegian would say Erik Runge Madsen. I probably say that. I do say that, and that's like wrong. It should be like Runge or something like that. Because that's how like Danish sounds.
Work.
I have to say, you guys do
That's
great
how
with the
Norwegian
names.
sounds. Like Danish sounds more like scary. That's
Wow.
Hey, spaghetti.
Yeah, see, I would butcher every name every time I try to say it.
Un ticket, the meatball, the fleur.
So yeah, no, it's fun with different names from all over the place, and I'm fairly good with like most Germanic like names and Spanish like names, but when we get to like French names and more exotic names, then I struggle a little bit too. But it's just awesome when we have people from all over the place in the chat joining us. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I thought about doing that Swedish, the Swedish movie critic. I'm not sure we can make the joke last for more than 2 movies. Once you get past the second or third video, it's the same joke. You know, I don't know. We'll see about that though.
No, we can try on After Dark, see how it works.
Yeah.
We don't know till we try it.
Speaking of successes, though, I can't believe the 4K for You show was doing as well it did. Did any of you guys get to join us for that day?
I did.
I watched it.
Paulie was in the chat.
It was
I
No,
just
I
put
didn't.
the
I
end
didn't
of
make it.
No, I still got to catch up on that one myself.
You should have been in the chat, Paulie, telling everybody
was-
4K Tom.
Yeah. Well, I was.
I even gave you a shout out.
Okay, cool. How was the show?
It did amazing.
All right.
We had over 300 people watching.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
And it was
Nice.
like questions, and the chat was really engaged. I loved it.
I believe I'm gonna be doing that on a vinyl. I'm just gonna be like
Oh, cool. Yeah, I get you.
yeah, I'm just gonna be like, because I got that new record player, so I'm just gonna
Be prepared to get into fights with audiophiles.
No, I'm not gonna actually play anything. I'm
No,
just
no,
gonna
no,
show
no.
packaging.
No, what I mean is you're going to get a bunch of people who will think they know better than you about everything when it comes to audio. Trust me.
Gotcha.
And you'll get every nuance
Yeah.
and idiot guy out there going, "Oh, this is better." No, you got the wrong word. Yeah,
Right.
The LP people are the worst.
yes.
I mean, they're so.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna go
so
live.
hardcore.
Yeah, I don't
That's
think
what I
I'm gonna
mean.
go live.
Andre gets where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it sounds
Yeah.
like what I deal with engineers.
Almost as bad as
Engineers
comic
thinking
book geeks. Yeah.
Well, basically, like every person who's like deeply devoted to LPs, if they're not engineers in this life, they should have been, and they're definitely engineers in another life.
Gotcha.
Because you do have like that what's the term I'm looking for?
You're going to be using the wrong
The-
needle.
that idiot savant.
You're going to be
thing.
using
Yeah.
everything wrong. Just wait to be told everything you're doing is wrong, Paulie.
Yeah. Well,
Well, at least you're not using CD, so there's that.
Well, see, and then I'll be the guy to come in and say, yeah, but if it's recorded digitally, what the fuck are you doing and putting on a record anyway? Like, see, that's me. And okay, so it's donor is how we're supposed to say it.
Done it.
donor.
Donor.
Rhymes with boner.
Oh, 6
Oh, Polly.
If it ain't her, it's me. So
on her mind.
one
Oh,
of us
there's
is
always
gonna say it.
someone.
So yeah, Daryl, welcome. I think this is the first time we've had you here, but I think the rest of you
Yeah.
we've had here at least once. I think BK Panther we had you on last time, or is this your first time too?
This is my first time.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
I
that's
wasn't
why
sure.
I asked, like, tell about yourself. I would
Yeah.
have remembered if he was here before.
I couldn't remember. That's my fault though. Because I know I've seen the name enough times, but like I see the names and I know the little icons, and that's the best way I remember you guys. And I try to keep up with everybody. So my memory is shit. I'm old. I have diabetes, and if I don't eat regularly, I forget
Diabetes.
everything. I felt so embarrassed the other night on Friday Night Tights. I couldn't remember Chris Gore's name for a minute. Then he had to fucking message me afterwards. He's like, "It's okay. I forget my name sometimes too." I was so fucking embarrassed. It's like, oh my god, dude.
You
That's
should go
funny.
vegan, Tom.
Well, you guys are growing,
That's
so you
funny.
got a lot of
You're
people
gonna
to keep
kill
track
me,
of.
Six.
Oh,
So okay, this is how this usually works. We don't have a whole lot of time today because we have the Doomcock special coming up. But we normally let you guys take a chance asking a question of each of us. Of course, Paulie, you know, he's actually on the team, so like he didn't get a question. You get to ask him stuff though. So that's how it works. So let's start with Six, and she's the first one in line here.
Oh, not 6. You trouble, girl. You trouble.
Although
I'm a good girl. I'm
could
all
be mean.
talk.
I
All
could
right.
be mean and re-put back the beginning where she's supposed to be there. All right.
What
well, go ahead,
What do you
Six.
want?
Whatever you
Oh.
want to ask us. Anything you want to ask.
I don't have a question, but I'd like to pimp Pop Culture Minefield, which is a channel that I produce for, and I'm frequently on the panel, and Tom frequently comes on the panel too. I can grab him by
Yeah.
the short hairs and drag him on.
And Gary's
So-
like my evil twin.
Yes.
He's the evil twin. I'm the wicked one.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Pop Culture Minefield. It's 2 Central on Fridays, right after Midnight's Edge. Come on over.
Yeah, they do good stuff.
I might have to accidentally mix. Well, not accidentally. I will be missing it next week, probably though.
Yeah, me too.
Unfortunately. And that's because Friday Night Tights starts like right after we usually get done on the morning show because Gary's going to be on Tim Pool's, so he's going to be leaving early. So yeah. So BK Panther, anything you want to ask us? And yeah, do check out Pop Culture Minefield. It's definitely a great place to.
Oh,
find
this
out
one's actually
information.
for Paulie.
Cool.
I watched his get together with the Stand and Deliver crew, actors and whatnot. And
Uh-huh.
I think towards the end of it, you guys were saying that you were going to try to get together again. Do you know when that's going to
Well,
happen?
there's like, so there's so many different moving parts, but I think the one thing that's going to happen first is going to be Danny Trejo between
Yeah.
now and Christmas and Thanksgiving. So
Yeah.
Eddie started working again because he was going to come back and promote this documentary, but he had to cancel. Lou Diamond is always available. I just,
We got to get a hold of Asai. We're going to do a LeBron
Yeah.
thing one of these days.
yeah, you don't want to bother them all, too much.
The other thing is this different, and I know Paulie will probably agree with me here, is like back when we started doing these, everybody was still shut down. Now everybody's working again, so it's a little harder to nail everybody down all at once. Like it was a lot easier when everybody was out of work and stuff, not working at the time to get all those people
Yeah.
together.
Now you're like going through their people now again.
And Eddie was at Comic-Con this year.
Oh, he was
Yes.
cool.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, there was a Battlestar Galactica panel that I attended, and he was there. It was great.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
kind of cool. Can you name some other celebrities that showed up?
there were a lot of them. William Shatner was there. I
I haven't gone in ages.
Yes, I
think when I
was.
went was probably like over 20 years ago to like a Star Trek convention or something.
I know the one you're talking about, like at the Penn Hotel, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
You
you would
know who else I
recognize
saw
all
there?
of the people. BK Panther, you'd
I
recognize all.
know that somebody is there that I wish I was there to hang out with. Clint Howard is there. I saw him posting some shit on Instagram.
Mhm.
That boy crazy. So
I got to bounce. I got to work tonight. I work third shift.
Aw,
Thank
okay.
you so much
well,
for the link, Tom. And
yeah.
thanks
That's it,
Thanks
everybody.
for coming
Yeah.
in, Six.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Dick. Have
And,
fun with that.
we're going to do this again really
Yeah.
soon. So yeah, take care of yourself out
Okay.
there.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Have a
nice
good night.
6.
All right. So, yeah. So the next thing I think we're gonna hopefully have Danny Trejo. I think was the answer to that, and then from
Yeah,
there
hopefully
we're
that answered your question. There's there's actually something I'm working on with Enrique Castillo. So that'll just kind of open up some more doors. I'm doing some post editing stuff for him.
and I know we had talked about getting some of those guys back individually too.
Right.
Just to
Right.
chit-chat.
Like Lou Diamondback, because I know he's got a book.
Yeah.
But
And I would love to just talk to Lou Diamond. Yeah. for
I
a
would love
longer
to talk
time.
to him.
I mean, we've got interviews that are recorded yet that are my fault that haven't gotten done yet.
Mhm.
So if you guys are into that kind of stuff, we got a plethora of shit come like I got interviews with Jack Shoulder. I've got Gary Wolf. I've got who, if you don't recognize that name, he's the guy who wrote Roger Rabbit, the book. And then we have who else did we talk to? We talked to Richard Band and Courtney was his last name. What's his first name, Andre? He's written a ton of shit.
They don't put me on the spot like that.
Oh, Courtney. Courtney is, I can't think of his last name, but he's written a ton of shit. Yeah, we got a ton of people we've talked to, but I just got to get through the editing of the audio. And that's where we finally decided, especially when we got to like the blood in, blood out reunion, we're like, we got to start doing these things live. We just can't, they're just too much to do.
And some of them were so time consuming.
Yeah. Well, like the Gary T one was so, God, it killed Andre and I.
Yeah, it did, because on the Gary Tunnicliffe one, because with him, we spoke for 6 hours.
Wow!
In between those 6 hours, because like you've heard him on our later live streams, he is someone that like when he's first started talking, he has to finish. So we were like anticipating like an hour, 2 hour interview. No, 6 hours. And from that 6 hour conversation, we cut like 4 or 5 videos, something like that.
I think you cut out about 2 hours worth of audio.
Yeah, and their accumulated length is 4 hours, and that means that there's 2 hours left on the cutting room floor. And that's not like 1 2-hour segment. That 2 hour is one sentence here, one silence there, a little bit of a segment of a conversation there. Move that part over there because that's where it kind of belongs.
Or where he says this is off the record. Yeah, that kind of stuff we cut out.
Yeah, and remove 20 minutes of off the record things at 5 different places. So like that audio editing nearly killed me. And when I was done with that, then the video editing really speaks for itself.
Yeah, when the audio is done is when the fun really begins. The audio is the tedious part. Like it's, like I know what Andre's talking about too, because, and this is where I've been trying to find an audio editor, because that's what takes so long to go through these. Is
audio editing is a freaking nightmare, especially of anything live, and of like interviews and trying to because like all of our interviews that we have that aren't live, that are like published as videos, they're edited a crap ton, all of them. If you're not able to tell that they're edited, that's a testament to like how much work was put into that editing. So yeah, and Tunnicliffe is like the star example there. But also others were easier. Like for instance, what's his face? Sonic the Hedgehog guy.
Oh,
Pender something. Ken Penders. Yeah. That was much easier. I mean, there it was just like, okay, we take this block and we take out this thing here, we take out this thing. That one was an easy one that we might start on live.
The opposite one of Gary was Robert Shea, because he was on limited time, like, and he was gracious enough to give us a second interview. Like, because we didn't get everything we wanted in that first one, and it was like, hey, can we get another hour or so audio? And he was like really gracious enough. So you couldn't tell.
Editing, by the way, was also a nightmare. Because there we did editing within every single word, every single time you had to like stop and think and stuff. So yeah.
Well, and Robert
just joined by Lindsay, the cynical geek. Hey, Lindsay.
And the other problem with Robert is for those who know anything about Robert Shea, he's a stutterer. So like he would stutter a lot, and it was a tough one to edit around.
And we, of course, out of respect, we took all of the stuttering out. Every single stutter we took out.
Wow.
This was very time consuming.
Yes. Yeah, I think you and I tag teamed on that audio, didn't we, Andre?
No, we did.
I was going to say, because that was one of the few that because either other times it's usually just one of us will take one on, and then either I'll take the whole thing on, or Andre will do the audio and then send it to me. But like that one, I think I do remember. Yeah, I think we both worked on that one.
Yeah. And then after we had finished doing his audio, then I re-recorded the introduction, and this is like the fun little thing, a goof in there that no one caught afterwards, because then I would like redo the introduction, because I did say the introduction live when we did the recording, but I fumbled it and breathed it in the wrong place and missed the pronunciation and stuff, so I redid it. And as I redid it, like, this is where Tom was going to say hi, so I gave like the instruction, say hi, Tom, which of course I meant for Tom to cut away. But nope, that's still there in the video, and none of us caught it until afterwards.
I thought he meant it to be there.
I didn't actually mean it to
It just
be
sounded
there.
natural, so I just left it. But yeah, so I know that was a long explanation on that. But welcome, Lindsay. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing all right. We're glad to have you here, though. We were just answering some questions. Now we're on. I think we were going the one way, but we moved. So, Steven, if you got a question, go ahead, and then we'll go to or if you're not ready, maybe has got one. Either or, between the two, you'll figure it out.
First off, I would just like to say to Lindsay, please quit following me. It's very weird, and I'm starting to get a little concerned about you and I being on every stream all of the time.
Crazy, yeah.
You know?
We had fun Friday night, though.
Yes, we did. We started out talking about Halloween 2018, and then we went into a number of other subjects. So
lot of rabbit holes,
it was yes, we did. It was a lot of fun.
I came on and screamed for about 5 minutes.
Yes, you did.
You were there for a while. Still fun, though.
The question that I had, and this is for anyone who has any insight, the major Hollywood studios spend upwards of hundreds of millions of dollars in some cases to advertise their movies. Mm-hmm. And one thing that I've noticed is a lot of people, if a movie gets brought up, they'll say, "Oh, I've never heard of that," or "I didn't see a trailer for it." And I'm like, I might see that trailer, but maybe others haven't. Well, on the live stream I was just talking about, I brought up the film Antlers. Now, I've seen the trailer for that for a year or so, because that was one of the movies that got delayed because of the goof. Right. But nobody else on the panel had heard of it. So I'm wondering, they spend hundreds of millions of dollars on advertising, so they claim, but yet nobody's seeing the trailers. Nobody's hearing of these movies.
What, are you telling me the trailer for Antler is out? Why wasn't I informed of this?
I think there are 3.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a movie.
I've seen one trailer for it already.
But you see, like, that's your point perfectly, isn't it? Here's like the thing, because they spend a shit ton of money on those things, and they do that to reach as many people as possible. But still, that doesn't mean that they're going to reach every single one.
Right.
Because it's a matter of which movies are the trailers attached to, which videos on YouTube is the trailer attached to, which articles and online journals and stuff like that is it attached to. And for a smaller horror movie like Antlers, and in the big Hollywood sense, it is a smaller movie. It's not going to get attached to like the huge big blockbuster things. So the people who are more likely to see it are those that go to web pages where something like that is going to be covered, so that you have cookies and stuff like that indicate that you might be interested in it. You then have advertising agencies that are going to attach that trailer to some YouTube videos and stuff like that if they paid for it. If you go see some other horror movie, it's going to be attached there. But for instance, if you go see just like a regular news video or like some universe video or whatever stupid crap is trending on YouTube, it's probably not going to be there. And that's going to just automatically limit the people who will see it. And for it to be there, well, that's when it starts costing tens and tens of millions to make sure that happens. And still, not everyone is going to see it. Like, it's a bigger chance that everyone is going to see like a trailer for Dune or a TV spot for Dune or something like that, because that's where they really, really blow the money. And that is for TV spots and stuff like that on super commercial things all over the place. But something like Antlers doesn't have the budget to.
I was just going to say that
kind of exposure.
Because that not only hurts like the mid-budgeted films like Antlers, that also hurts that there's no advertising for the smaller films. I would never have heard of Sideways if it wasn't for Pauly. I would not have known who Kenneth Castillo even was. I wouldn't have seen Sideways or Counterpunch because these movies aren't advertised.
Well, yeah,
Well,
that just go ahead, Pauly. Sorry.
those movies are independent productions that probably have an independent budget separate. They're not studio films, so with something like that, I'm sure Kenneth can answer better, is where his marketing budget was spent, if they had one. My guess is that it's just in distribution, like Redbox and all that stuff when it comes out, and then that's definitely one of the that's part of our mission statement, is to bring those filmmakers and those films to connect them to you guys. So yeah.
No, and you're both right, like Andre, as far as I'm concerned, and I think the main thing to key in on is it is true, Stephen, that the studios spend a large portion of their advertising budget on a select few films every year. And a lot of it is because those select few films have to make their money back, right? Like, it used to be the tentpole movies were the movies that would fund all your smaller pictures. Now it's more so you hope you get lucky and some little smaller movie picks up, and then that's when they'll get behind it advertising wise, right? Like, great example I can think of, like, is more recent, is like Baby Driver, right? As soon as that was a critical hit and it had a little legs on it, and then the advertising machine kicked in behind it. Before that, not too many people really knew what it was, and the normies, they don't really seek out trailers. Like, that's kind of what Andre was saying, is like, generally, unless it's attached to something or just happens to be on during a show you watch, they're generally, unless they're somebody who's a fan of something, they're not going to seek it out. So, you're just lucky if you see it by happenstance. And I think the big point here is, like Eric Roomans had said here in the chat, is, it's the effective spending. I don't think a lot of the time they know where to spend it anymore. You can spend it on YouTube ads, but most people skip those. You can spend it on, streaming ads, but like then you're at the whim and whimsy of who's watching it and where and when, and you have no idea what kind of audience you're generally reaching out to. The old way worked so much easier because they're like, okay, a certain kind of audience is going to come see this movie, so they try to attach a trailer to that said movie for that reason. And it was always a big deal if a bigger movie got attached, or if your movie got attached to a bigger movie that was coming out, because then you knew more eyeballs would see your trailer and more people would be aware of your film. But that is probably one of the biggest problems they face in Hollywood, is just awareness of movies. And we live in a day and age of social media where it's pretty easy to run your own campaign pretty much free and cheap. And so that's where a lot of independent films have actually gotten ahead of where they could have been, say, 20 years ago, where they were just lucky if they got picked up by a studio or a little, independent distributor, then maybe they got a little bit of an advertising budget. But nowadays it's tough. You're pretty much on your own. Like, look at what like Robert Meyer Burnett has done with like Tango Shalom. I guarantee you they didn't have much for an advertising budget.
They didn't have an advertising budget
at all. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. So it's Robert is the advertising budget.
Yes.
I mean, he's
been going to town with that too.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what you're
really
saying is that for like the independents, it's more like a word of mouth is going to get it out there versus
absolutely.
That is exactly right.
Like Pauly was Sideways, yeah.
But it's so much easier for the studio pictures, because how much exposure something is going to get is almost 100. Well, it's 90% dependent on who is the distributor, and then how much they decide to spend on it. If they decide that, okay, this is something that is a blockbuster we're going to have to promote, Or, for instance, this is a Baby Driver that we think we can earn a shit ton of money on, so let's spend the money there. And then you also have like other smaller movies, like for instance, for like say the Conjuring movies and stuff like
Right.
those. Those are movies that are made by like Warner, and they spend hardly anything on the movies themselves. Like most movies that are like The Conjuring, like they're getting expensive now, but that's because they're like 6-7 movies in, and the cast are getting like more paid. But earlier on, like those movies, they have a budget of typically like less than 10 million.
They
much
were
less
some
than
of. It's
10
probably
million.
one of the more profitable franchises out
Oh,
there.
very
Yeah.
much so. And then they will typically spend like 3, 4, 5 times the movie's budget just in marketing, and they're still going to earn a shit ton of money because that is what it takes just to create awareness about it. That's what it costs. And then the money flows in because it costs so little to make it. But that is if you have a studio that has that kind of resources behind it. If you don't,
Right.
like for instance, Tango Shalom, no one there has like $30-40 million to spend on marketing. So all you can hope for is like some good trailers, some good posters, and some word of mouth.
And winning awards and stuff like that helps too.
Entirely
Yeah.
on the distributor.
Yeah, and when it comes to independent films, like that's one thing I really encouraged Robert, and I mean he was going to anyway, but I'm like, do it, like push that, like this could be the next Big Fat Greek Wedding, if you get it to all the awards, you know, for independent stuff, and they've been doing that and stuff, and they've been kicking ass. So like that kind of stuff's going to help too. Eventually that'll get the attention of maybe a smaller independent distributor, like even an A24 or something like that, you know, to pick it up. And that's where they get lucky. And like the greatest example that I can think of that is like Clerks, right? Like Kevin Smith made it for $30,000. He took it around to the indie circuit, and eventually it got picked up by Miramax, and that's what you got to hope for. And then once it got picked up by Miramax, it was a totally different story. Then you started seeing the trailer show up on home videos and stuff. And that's another thing too. Honestly, I didn't even think of that till now. That's one market that's been completely almost erased, as far as that's where most people have probably seen trailers for a good portion of the last 2 decades prior to this, was just from renting videos and sitting through the trailers in the beginning of videos. Like even Blu-rays barely have them anymore, and you can skip through them most of the time now. And that used to be a big
I
way
think
to,
now, I think
Go-
now what's kind of replaced that is the actors, the cast, and their social media outlets. Because a lot of
this is
times,
true, but
yeah, a lot of times those co-stars, you know, the smaller roles, they'll all right, you know, who are the 2 best? Okay, well, how's their social media?
no, that is
'Cause
true, Paulie. They
it's
do take
free
social media into
advertising
account.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's free advertising, and you know, we're trying to get Romy's Instagram numbers up, you know, because what the producers will do, they'll look at her at all her stats, then she can see when her IMDb pros goes up. So you know, it's a great way to, you know, to market like maybe mid-size smaller movies that the studios have. It's like, you know, I mean, the greatest star right now on that tip is The Rock.
Yeah, he is frequently mentioned as someone who is extra powerful because of his social media following, and that's one of the reasons why he's able to command such paychecks, why he is always being brought in to save a franchise, because they see his stats. They see, whoa, look at this social media following and stuff like that. And also, as Paulie said, for like any new young actor or actress trying to make it, it isn't all about talent. Like, say, for instance, that you have like a role, a breakout role for a young actor or actress, and they have limited their choices down to like 3 different people, and they know that any one of these 3 is going to be a really, really good fit. Then they're going to look at the social media following and see, okay, beyond just working in the movie, who can give us the biggest boost? Who here can promote the movie to their followers in social media and give us audiences? And then someone with 100,000 or 3 million followers is going to beat the shit out of someone with 258.
Mhm.
I'm not saying it's fair, but it has become part of it. That's kind of like one of the things with social media. It really matters in casting decisions. What can you bring? How can you help market the movie? And then we don't mean by coming along to a publicity tour where you get to be hotels and everything like that. No. How can you push it in social media, and what's your reach?
Yeah, and I don't want to rush through this, but we do have to get moving along here. Did you have anything that you wanted to ask us or discuss real quick?
No, I already discussed the con. I'm so tired from the con. Like I
really miss going to conventions.
I do
Right?
too.
say,
Yeah.
I haven't been at a convention. When was the last time? I think I haven't been. It must be like 5 years or something.
I was going to
since
say,
I was
It's been about that
you haven't
long
been
for
since
me.
I've known you.
Yeah, no, it's probably more than that. Yeah.
if
No, I haven't.
anybody is lucky enough to be in San Diego when I think it's around the Thanksgiving time, they're going to have it. Go to it because it was really cathartic. I mean, it felt really good to go
And
back.
San
to it.
Diego is usually one of the bigger ones anyway, so
Yeah.
It's a packed one. Yeah.
yeah, it's one of the
It's
bigger.
constantly busy. Yeah.
But yeah, all right. Well, then let's move along. Did you have anything you wanted to ask us, Daryl?
Yeah, actually, I did. In reference to a lot of the stuff I'm seeing that's gained a lot of publicity or notice has been a lot of the books turned into movies here lately, or series. Now, my thoughts, I talked about this with once before via chat on like the Dragonlance stuff. But my question is like, have you heard of the author David Gemmell?
I have, yes.
What do you think about if somebody, the right person, were to try and turn that into a franchise?
I think I think it has excellent potential. I think that it could be in the right hands. It could be the next Game of Thrones, because it's a brand that hasn't been mined yet. It was almost usurped. Almost, but it didn't happen. If you've seen our earlier videos, you'll know that the Conan movie that Schwarzenegger was trying to get off, or has been trying to get off the ground for the past 8 years or so.
The King Conan
that movie, that King Conan movie is actually appropriating legend.
Are you?
Where then, for real, where Druss would then be repurposed into Conan.
No.
Yes, for real. So I'm sure you'll be glad to know that didn't happen. So Druss and legend remains unmined.
Good.
But that was what Schwarzenegger was trying to do, was to appropriate Druss and legend.
No.
So Legend of Conan, you ever heard that title, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why it was called The Legend of Conan, because they appropriated David Gemmell's legend. So since that movie didn't happen, and it's never going to happen, Gemmell remains ripe for the picking. I think that it absolutely could happen, but we're going to need some spike in sword and sorcery first. As it is right now, his work has kind of like the same problem as Conan, in that many studios are going to be a little bit gun shy about that kind of franchise in particular, unless they absolutely neuter it and make it contemporary. So you're better off hoping that no one pays too close attention to it for the next few years here anyway.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, because that would be my biggest worry with anything sword and sorcery related nowadays, is that they would have to cut it down to meet the social norm or acceptability marks now. And you do that, you might as well not make the damn thing.
Exactly.
So.
Gotta bounce. You guys take care.
You too, Polly. Bye,
Polly.
See you this week.
Take
Bye,
care,
guys.
Polly.
Yeah, take care, Polly.
Yeah,
See
we're
you,
running
Polly.
low on time too. But Lindsay, did you have anything that you wanted to ask us, sir?
Yeah. Is the King Conan script read going to be happening
Yes,
anytime
it's
soon?
going to be
Not
happening.
this week.
It's maybe next week. And the
Obviously.
reason
Okay.
that it's not happening, that's entirely on me, because I'll be the one doing the narration, and I can't do the narration if I suddenly like break into a cough or something.
No, yeah, that'd be a bad.
Yeah, and
And
this
also,
week
and
got totally fucked up for me too. Yeah.
and on the topic of like appropriating scripts and stories, Erik Ronge Madsen points out that Olympus Has Fallen was pitched for a Die Hard movie originally. Yeah, there
I
you
can
go.
see that.
Whereas
heard that
Die
rumor
Hard
once.
with a Vengeance was a standalone movie.
They all
or
were
a
except for the
standalone
first one,
script
basically.
that was appropriated to become a Die Hard script.
Actually, all the
And-
Die Hard movies except for the last one were.
Yeah, I don't think I saw the last one. It looked so stupid.
That was the one that was the only one that I know of of all the Die Hard films that was actually written as a Die Hard movie, and it was going around for years because it was such a bad fucking movie that it didn't want to make it, and then they finally did, and it was like, see, told y'all it was a bad movie.
Well, the novel that Die Hard is based on is itself a sequel.
Sequel, yes.
Yeah.
So it's actually it's also that even the technically Die Hard itself is kind of changed because since that was originally going to be a sequel to the movie that was made, I can't remember the name of it, but the original character was played by Frank Sinatra. They actually asked Frank Sinatra if he wanted to come back to play the character again for what eventually became Die Hard, and he turned it down. But it would have worked out because age-wise in the book, the character is much older cop, so like it actually worked out. And it's actually his daughter and not his wife and all these other things that are different. I've actually read the book and I can't even remember what the book is called now, but it's like, yeah, it's basically the same story though otherwise. And she's actually working with the terrorists and shit like that in the book too. It's really weird. And she dies, which is fucked up. But like, so he turned it down. So like, all right, well, we got to reappropriate this, and they rewrote it and changed the character's name to John McClane, and you know,
Wow.
yeah. So
Yeah, it's
pretty much
very different from the movie.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
part 2 is based on a
So
novel
exciting.
called 58 Minutes.
Right.
Die Hard with a Vengeance was originally a script called Simon Says. And then Die Hard 4 was originally, God, what the hell was it called? But it was about a hacker who took over the world, and they just inserted John McClane in it. I can't remember what it was called, but it was like something virus, because I can't remember what the character's name that Timothy Oliphant played, but it had something play on his name or something like that. But kind of like, yeah, so it's like, again, another appropriated script. And this was also famous in the Hellraiser series, right, Andre?
Oh, very much so.
Like there's only 3 of those that were actual Hellraiser scripts that weren't appropriated.
The first 4 movies, they were original Hellraiser scripts, and beyond that, it's actually only Hellraiser Revelations that was originally written as a Hellraiser script. Everyone else, parts 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10, were all other scripts that were appropriated into Hellraiser. Every last one of them. Like, so for instance, part 7, Hellraiser Deader.
Yeah.
That was an original script simply called Deader.
Which is actually one of the better sequels, and that's the one
It is.
that Stan Winston produced too.
You know, that reminds me, speaking of Barker, I'm surprised they haven't attempted to reboot Nightbreed yet.
Oh, they
I
have.
think that's on the
They have.
table. Yeah.
They've been trying for years, but it's a matter of like finding the funding to make it happen. But there has been a desire and intention to do it for many years already. So there have been various TV series in
The last I heard, I
development,
think, was a
movie
series, yeah.
deals. So yeah, it's been like in some stage of development hell for
Oh,
better part of a decade. And same thing with the Hellraiser remake. That's also been like in various stages of development for more than a decade until
Now,
it happened now recently on Hulu. I think I have a fairly good idea why.
as far as
you think that's because of Clive himself messing around with it?
No, that has nothing
No,
to do with
okay.
it.
no,
Clive, he wrote a completely new script for a Hellraiser movie like 10 years ago, because Then it was with the Weinsteins, and the Weinsteins, they made like overtures to 5, 6, 7 different teams of screenwriters. And then the Weinsteins shut down every single one of their takes, including the one from Clive Barker himself. And that is one that many of the fans probably would have liked, because it wasn't quite a remake. It was kind of a remake, but not really. It was it was like a new spin on the same story. In a way where you could choose yourself if in your own head canon the original movies and franchise up until that point had happened or not. And he wanted to bring Doug Bradley back as a grizzled, older Pinhead. But just like they had every other creative team that set to work on Hellraiser, the Weinsteins shut that down. Because the Weinsteins never really cared for the franchise. They wanted something that's going to attract the teens and have a big opening weekend, and all the creative teams, they wanted to make something unique in the vein of the original, and the Weinsteins didn't want that. So it didn't happen. Whereas right now, Clive Barker, he is set to get the rights back in December of this year. A deal has already been worked out, so that's not going to be an issue. But his involvement, that doesn't is not what has made the movie happen, because it needs distribution and it needs someone to fund it. And Clive Barker himself can provide none of those. So it needs a third party, and that third party needs a reason to fund it. And it's only now recently, with this most recent take, that they have that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
A funny story I heard about Nightbreed, and this was before the film was made, and they're shopping it around to the studios. And one producer said, well, I don't get it. You know, like, well, what's your issue? He says, well, people are going to root for the monsters. And that was kind of the point. You're supposed to be rooting for the monsters.
Yeah, the point with Nightbreed is that the humans are the real monsters. That's like a recurring theme.
I was going to say, it's kind of like another take on The Last Man on Earth in a weird way. Like,
it's like the X-Men horror version.
Or I Am Legend, or whatever you want to call it. Sorry.
Well, I Am Legend, Last Man on Earth, Vincent Price movie. Both the same.
That's I know the books I Am Legend, but to me it was I Am Legend was a remake of that. But no, like I know with Nightbreed, like the original film was taken away pretty much from Barker, and he hated the final cut. But now, if you have the Scream Factory edition, he got to do his director's cut for that one.
Eventually, many years later.
I have it. I haven't got a chance to watch it yet, but I have it.
It's much better than
I can imagine. I can only imagine,
It is a better cut. I can confirm that.
Of course, this does not require much, but it is a substantial improvement. But in the case of Clive Barker, his first attempt at directing turned out to be his best work.
Indeed.
Yeah. Indeed.
And
thank you guys all for having me, but I've got to cut out.
No problem. I was going to say, unless there was anybody who had any last minute questions, we were probably going to.
Oh, we have Naked Fame. We can send
hey, Naked Fame, how you doing?
Yeah.
So again, thank you all for having me. You guys have a good rest of your day.
Hi, Daryl.
Bye, Daryl.
Bye,
Daryl. Nice talking to
you guys. Nice talking to you guys as well.
Yeah, and I just have to drop out for 1 second here. I'll be back shortly.
No problem. And then, like I said, if we got one or two more questions, we could probably grab, and that's about it. But other than that, we want to thank you guys as always for being members. You guys help keep the lights on, literally. We're hopefully going to be getting things back to normal-ish soon, as far as like videos and stuff like that. But thank you so much. And did you have a question for us? Anybody in the chat, real quick before we go? We'll take one or two real quick. Because we got to run over to Doomcock's stream, and then I got to finish watching Creature from the Black Lagoon yet, because I'm supposed to be on the Arena stream yet.
Arena stream, huh?
Yeah.
What are the round tables about?
Which ones?
Yours, Midnight's Edge. There was I think it was posted in the community or something, or the membership perks that you guys have roundtables every once in a while.
Oh, this is it.
What is that
You're on it.
about?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, all right.
Yeah. Where we just kind of sit down and talk
Yeah.
to you guys, and you guys can ask us whatever you want. And you know, the only thing we kind of say is just remember what anybody says in here, especially like other members. You know, keep it between yourselves. Don't like go
Yep.
doxing anybody in the chat and stuff like that. Because we have actually had a few members who left because they felt like other people were getting a little too personal with them. So yeah, just kind of keep that in mind, guys.
Wow.
And yeah. No,
I'm
but
back
yeah,
again.
no problem. We were just talking about he was curious what the round tables were, and I said, well, you're kind of on it. Yeah. But I mean, we've talked about maybe like the funny thing is actually kind of funny you mentioned that though, because like Andre and I were kind of debating on what to do with this whole like anniversary of Escape from New York, because he went to see a special screening of it.
Ooh.
And we're trying to gauge some kind of like what can we do with it. I'm just like, I don't know if dropping a retrospective would really do anything. If anything, a better retrospective would just be on John Carpenter himself. But who knows? Maybe we can do like some kind of special roundtables where like members
be
can hop in and we can just talk about specific movies and stuff like that. That might
I'm
not
down
be a
for
bad
that.
idea.
Oh, I would love
Is that what you kind of were
Love
had in
that.
mind, BK
Yeah.
Panther? Or?
Yeah, I mean, things
that
like
would
that would be cool.
Yeah,
I mean-
that's definitely something we can consider.
Yeah, because I love talking movies and specific movies. I'm just like that roundtable discussion I did, that Steven and I were a part of with Jesse and Chef. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think we can definitely probably figure something like that out. What do you think, Andre?
Oh yeah, I'm sure that can be arranged.
So we'll keep that in
Something
mind.
to that effect.
Yeah, we definitely want to try and do more things for you guys. Maybe we'll try and work on a set schedule so we can try and be more regular with this stuff. And we apologize. It's been everything's been chaotic in the background, and I know you guys keep hearing that shit. But,
Yeah.
well, it doesn't help that like I went to order a computer a while back, and of course I'm sure you've heard a lot of the problems lately with those kind of things and getting so it's just been everything has just been a mess, and we're trying to get everything kind of up to speed and
Yeah.
getting Espanol off the ground and everything else all at the same time. And
Yeah.
Well, it's like being a mod in the chat. When you guys get like over 1,000 views, trying to keep up on the chat. It's like, oh, no, I know how you guys feel. Trying to get stuff done.
it's
Oh, yeah. Well,
some
of course,
days
we're
can be
not
fun.
complaining. It's
No, it's great
it's a
problems
blessing.
to have. Yes.
Absolutely, it is. And someone who isn't on the panel but who still has a question here is Naked Fame.
Please.
And Tom, did you put the link in the chat again? So
If he wants to hop in, I don't know if he can, but sure.
Yeah.
In case anybody wants to hop in for the last minute, we'll stay for about 5-10 more minutes or so.
Yeah.
Until I hear from
But anyway,
Duke.
Naked Fame, who is naked, says, I wanted to know what Andre thought about the set designs and costumes for Dune.
Mm.
I thought that the set designs were amazing. I thought the costume designs were all right, but I would have liked more. I thought they were probably very realistic. So I will give them that. They were all very probably, if there is like an intergalactic empire 20,000 years into the future, they'll probably dress like that. But I would have liked something a little bit more out there. Not as out there as the 2000 TV series, but yeah, something out there in the same kind of level as David Lynch's Dune, or maybe even the Dune we never got made from Jodorowsky. So that would have been cool. But the sets are all amazing, and the ornithopter, my God, that's like one of the best props I've ever seen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the score, not so much. So yeah, that should
So
answer that.
do you guys have anything that you're looking forward to coming out in the next year or so?
Ghostbusters, big time. The more I hear about it, I mean, I'm trying to avoid anything specific about it, but I keep hearing great reviews from people. People who have seen it are like squeeing over it, and so that's always a good sign. They say it's good fan service, which is exactly what we want. So yeah, I mean, I'm hearing good things. I'm looking forward to that. I'm kind of looking forward to Spider-Man.
Mhm.
Gosh, I'm trying to remember what else is coming out here.
I'm
Yeah,
looking
that's
forward to a movie called Last Night in Soho.
Okay, it sounds familiar, but I'm not overly
Yeah.
familiar with
It's
it.
a thriller. It's a horror film by Edgar Wright.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Okay.
Edgar Wright's
Oh,
brother.
Edgar, and it's Edgar Wright. You
That
can't
might
go
be
wrong
why
with
I've heard
Edgar
about
Wright.
it. Okay.
And as for me, I'm actually looking forward to Venom because that's not opening.
I already
until,
saw
like,
that.
late November. Yeah, I know. It's ironic, right? I got to see Dune before everyone else, but Venom, which I was looking more forward to, I have to wait to see until after everyone else in the world.
I'm worried about Dune because I think I'm going to like it. Like, here's the thing with Dune. Like, I think I'll like it more than I'm expecting to. But I
Yeah,
don't want to, like,
you may.
I don't want to
You
get
don't
myself...
want to, yeah, you don't want to set your expectations too
Yeah,
high.
because everything I keep seeing more new
got it.
stuff of, and after hearing
That
what
is a
Andre-
risk. That is
yeah,
a
I
risk.
know.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh shit, I'm getting myself into that territory where it's going to let me down. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
Mhm.
shit, because
That
it's
is
like,
that is a risk. That one can be like overhyped in a way. Also on the topic of Dune, Erik Runge Madsen wonders: was the Imperial messenger in Dune Hasimir Fenring? Spoiler alert: no, he was not. So he remains firmly committed to the written page.
Do you, Andre? Do you think that it's worth watching the original Dune and the miniseries, or you could watch this new movie without knowing any of that?
No, just watch the new movie. Go in, see the new movie first, assess it on its own merits, and then after you've seen that, if you haven't seen the other things and you're interested, then go back and watch the other things.
Okay.
But I would absolutely recommend. Don't get like things confused by seeing by seeing any of the others first. Just go and watch this Dune without seeing the others first. I think you'll enjoy this one more that way.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so for any
Yeah.
book readers, let's how many books are there, and how, like, read the whole series?
There's
or
6 original books, and I have no idea after that. Andre, I'll have to tell you that.
I would catch a shit ton. There's like, I don't know, it's like 14, 15, 16 books, something like that came later.
Wow.
And they're huge, like they're massive books.
Wow.
So stick with the original Herbert books. Like read like
Okay.
the first 3, 4, and then
Okay.
if you're interested, then you carry on, and if not, then just end it there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that.
Rudy has an interesting question here, and we'll probably end on this soon. And KitKat, that's a good suggestion. We probably should have a membership drive. That's not a bad idea.
Ooh.
But Rudy, welcome. I didn't see your name in here earlier, so I'm assuming you're just hopping in here, but has a quick question just before we go. So I think this will be our last one. Says, I like the origin stories of. Is there background video where Andre and Tom come from, did before the channel, how it started, etc.? Now, there is a series of videos that we're putting out now that you can access as a member and through our Patreon.
There's indeed.
About the making.
I'm going to put the playlist in the chat here.
Now, it doesn't get too much, I think, in our prehistory. I mean, I think you mentioned a little bit about.
A little bit of my prehistory.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you haven't gotten to me yet. So, like, Andre, I mean, you can give a kind of a brief, whatever, overview of what you didn't put in there, I suppose, and then I can probably give mine real quick.
Yeah, just give me 1 second here. I'm just going to put this in the chat
Sure.
for Rudy. There's the playlist for the behind the scenes video. No, really, there's I don't have a lot to add other than there. And no, actually, KitKat, you don't have to be a Chrome level member for the behind the scenes. That's for the Norse mythology. It should be available to Vikings. That playlist right there. It's basically started with with me that come from the background of finance and business analysis and product management within fintech being unfulfilled. And my hobby was like Hollywood comics and movie stuff like that. And I suddenly decided I'm going to do a YouTube channel on that. And I'm just going to bring the same level of professionalism to that as I do in everything else. And I teamed up with Kevin, the one I started the channel with. And the two of us did like phase 1 of it. And that covered basically the Trankgate stuff. And then Kevin quit because he didn't have time for YouTube, because at that time there was no money in it, very little view, stuff like that, but a big commitment in time. So he quit, he didn't have time, so I ran the channel solo for a while. And then eventually other people came to join me, such as Tom, that I saw had another channel in 2017, I think it was, and we haven't gotten that far yet in these behind the scenes videos, but details will come when we get there.
But as far as my background, though, I went to school for radio broadcasting and video production and television broadcasting, and I worked in radio for a very short time. Then I got into video instead and ended up owning my own video store at one point. Outside of that, I worked with like Movie Gallery and a lot of mom and pop shops, and that's kind of how I made a lot of connections and stuff like that, getting to know people and whatnot, and people on the outside of the industry and a few people here and there. And it just then as far as just getting into this part, that'll probably come more in detail in the upcoming videos. But yeah, I tried my hand at a few different things on YouTube as just kind of a hobby in the background, and Ghostbusters kind of came along with this whole idea of, just the McDonaldization of movies, because that was a term I kind of coined myself years ago prior to even being in this community, and it was just kind of something I noticed. And then the woke stuff kind of happened while I was in the process of kind of coming on board with Midnight's Edge, and from there it was just kind of like a wild train that hasn't stopped. It's just been a hell of a ride since then. So we'll get into more of that in the actual videos, but that's the best version I can give you. I mean, outside of that, I worked in fast food and shit. I had a kid to raise, so I mean, I had to pay bills, so yeah, other than that, just stuff like that. Retail.
How did you come up with the name?
That's
Midnight's Edge. Yeah, that's actually my idea. The original concept for the channel was to cover the darker side of comics, the heroes or the anti-heroes from like darker lines like DC's Vertigo and Marvel Knights. And,
for instance, when I found
the
channel, the only videos that were on here were Fantastic Four stuff. I think you had one Conan video, maybe.
Yeah, we had one or two Conan videos at that time.
Yeah, you had talked about
like Punisher,
Daredevil and Punisher,
Daredevil and Punisher,
and
that's
Avengers.
kind of what was
that was about it. Yeah, and then you're just getting into Ghostbusters. So like, that was the kind of the roots.
But to get into the name, then, because me and Kevin, we discussed a name that kind of like wanted to emote the darker side of comics. So then we were looking at to do like a spin on names on like darker comic lines, like for instance DC's Vertigo and Marvel Knights. So we were thinking something like Vertigo Knights, and then like now it could be trouble because those lines they're still ongoing. So let's look at defunct lines, and some of those defunct lines from Marvel were Midnight Suns and Marvel Edge. So then I had the idea, let's combine the two, Midnight Suns and Marvel Edge. Midnight's Edge. That sounds pretty cool, doesn't it?
And luckily there isn't too many things with that name. There's a book series and a band. That's
we discovered the book series later, actually.
I recently rediscovered the band recently. I forgot to tell you about that, Andre. There's a band with that name. Yeah, it's some like I can't remember where they're from, some local band somewhere like up and coming band or whatever.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool. I
they got
hope
like a
they're good.
Facebook page or something, I think, somewhere. But yeah,
Well, I hope they're good. But anyway, so yeah, and if you look at like the earlier videos with like the video with the logo I changed later up just to change it a little bit more. But originally, the first version of the logo, go back to the earliest videos, and you compare it to the Marvel Edge logo, you'll recognize it for the straight paint over that it was. Before I went back and changed it into the current thing.
yeah. I remember just saying like, I'm like, just make the M and the E the same thing. Like just put, and he's like, I don't know. And then you come back with this, and it was like, oh, it works. See.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, that's pretty much how I remember.
Yeah.
Other than
And
that,
then Erik Ronge-Madsen, he also wondered how
Yes.
it's doing coming along. Finally, I finished the final book on the War Against the Machines. I still have to do the review on it, but I finished it after a long goddamn last, because those books, they're not bad, but they were overly long. They were much longer than they needed to be. So finally, I finished, and it was a chore. Because when I started that series of like reading every single Dune book, that was before the pandemic, and when I could get like a good hour of an audiobook every single day, commuting back and forth from work, with working from home and stuff, that didn't happen anymore. Now I had to try to find that hour somewhere else, and that turned out to be much more difficult. So I don't know how many more I'll be going through, but I did finish the Machine Crusade trilogy. Very happy about that.
there's your answer. So
Yeah.
with that, I think we'll wrap up. So hopefully Andre and I can have a minute to catch a breath and a bathroom break before Doomcock sends us a link here. But hopefully we see you guys over there. We're gonna hop in and talk to Doomcock a little bit, hopefully soon here. And want to thank you guys again, and we'll definitely let you guys know this week when the next planned
we'll try to have
roundtable
one
is. Yeah.
either later this week or the next week. We're going to do this much more frequent because we haven't done what we promised to members, and we're sorry about that. So we're going to make up for it.
Troy just joined us too. Oh, sorry about that, Troy. But as we just said, we're going to be doing more of these. We apologize. And the only reason we're kind of on a time limit now is because of this Doomcock thing. So we apologize. But otherwise, we'd stick around a little longer for you guys like we usually do. But no, hopefully we answered everybody's questions for the most part. As far as I could tell, I think we did. And yeah, Troy, you can just rewind. But if you have a quick question, Troy, we can try and answer it here real quick. I still haven't got a link from Doomcock, so.
Yeah, same if Karen Prime has a question, then
Sure.
now's the time.
Yes. Yeah, anybody does real quick.
Yeah, I have to do something else here in the background as well. So
No problem. Because I was figure we'll just wrap it up here otherwise. But yeah, no problem, Diego. Thanks for being a member and a Patreon member or a mod. All you guys help us out so much. You do so much for us, and he says he's good. Well, thanks for being here just the same, Troy. Enjoy the show. It will be unlisted for members, I believe, is how it works out. So
yes,
you guys will be able to check back into it, and along with all the other content that we give you guys specifically. And we're going to work on giving you guys some more content as well. And I think we got some of the other Patreon stuff that we'll try and move over to the members stuff too here eventually. I know at least my script doctors, we can probably do that one and a few others that I've talked about. So, all right. Well, it doesn't look like anybody else has any more questions, unless anybody on the panel does real quick.
One last one, I guess.
All right, go
Kamran
ahead.
is regular on Friday now.
Yeah,
Seems to be that way.
He's regular, pending that he doesn't have any other obligations, which he does from time to time. But beyond that, he's on most Fridays. Yeah, and he's frequently coming, joining on Monday's Toxic Femininity as well.
If it was up to me, we'd have Gore every week too, but I just can't really get him to nail down to anything permanent. But who knows? Maybe we'll work on something like that too. But
Yeah, Gore's definitely one of my favorite guests.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
it would be nice to have him every Wednesday and Cameron every Friday. That'd be great. And then we could just rotate people on Mondays, something like that. I was thinking, or maybe every other Wednesday I can talk Chris maybe into coming in or something. Perhaps. Maybe Andre can sweet talk him a little bit. Who knows?
Yeah, I can try.
Yeah. I also enjoy seeing Tom Conkle on the panel too.
Oh, he's so good.
indeed.
He's so good.
The thing with Tom is his schedule is just so random. Like I love
Oh,
Tom
yeah.
to death, but
He's
he's had
got-
to cancel on us so many times and move stuff. So it's really tough to get him on like a
Well, he's a busy guy, you know, with being a
set
filmmaker
schedule.
and all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But otherwise we'd have him on more often too. Like, but yeah, like if you notice when things were shut down for him, it was a little easier to get him on
Yeah.
more often. But no, now he's busy man. So, which is a good thing for him. Same thing with script. So like, you know, it's tough to get him in on things sometimes too, but he does his best. So
Yeah, I'm so appreciative of Script for all the scripts he's come out with for these table reads, you know.
oh yeah, he's a big part of it. He's a big inspiration. He helps give me ideas in the background. So, and hopefully we'll get to more of those. I know it's been lackluster lately, but with
Yeah.
everything going on with Andre being sick, but hopefully we'll
Well,
get some more done.
I'm glad to hear that you're better, Andre.
Oh yes, indeed, Andre. God,
On
Yeah,
that
I'm
note, though, if you talk to Jesse, Lindsay,
getting there.
you could tell him since we're doing this Doomcock thing early, and then I got that other thing at 7. I might be available later on if he wants to do one later on tonight.
Oh, we talked about the Nightmare, the Dream.
Yeah, if
Warriors
we want to
script,
do the
didn't
Nightmare
we?
on Elm Street one, we could probably do that after all that stuff.
Okay.
If he's still awake, I don't know if he works tomorrow though. I think he has Mondays off.
He usually has Mondays off.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
just
and-
tell him
I'll
to get a
probably
hold of me.
text him,
And let me
yeah.
know too, Lindsay, because if I can like help out with that, I'd love to.
Okay.
Sure, I'll send you
yeah,
the
I'll-
links and stuff.
Yeah, I'll text him later about that. So.
Sounds good. Yeah, just keep me posted, or just tell him to get a hold of me. All right, with that, I think we'll close this out, and thank you guys for being here. And
Yeah, thank you so much.
appreciate
We couldn't do this without you. So that's amazing. And Kit Kat, more behind the scenes stories are coming very soon, aren't they, Tom? As soon as you
yeah,
start
that's my
recording.
fault. We've got 2 in the hopper. I've been trying to get my house in order on top of dealing with some stuff with my kid and the normal Midnight's Edge stuff. So
Like,
again,
we
sorry
we
for
have,
all the fucking excuses, guys. I
yeah,
feel
well,
like such an ass,
all,
but
all, all I can say is that life happens to us as well.
Real life.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Real life. Yeah.
yeah, and Andre's schedule's been a bit more tedious lately too, so it's been tough to kind of work everything around everything. But we're trying to get there, and
We're fine.
we'll get there.
It's especially tough when you have kids too. So.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And like that's why I have to like go.
Especially
now,
little
because
ones like Andre has. Yes.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I have
Definitely.
2 ages, 3 and 6, so not like quite independent just yet.
Nope.
And my wife is out of town as well, just to make everything perfect. So
Oh, I didn't even know that till now. So yeah, there you go. I kind of figured you were flying solo on certain things. I didn't realize she was out of town. So,
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully we'll have some videos for you guys early in this week. We'll see the rest of you hopefully over on Doomcock and all that kind of stuff. And I'm sure I'll see you later, Lindsay, if not. And yeah, take care of the rest of you and take care of yourselves and each other and all that good stuff. Andre, anything to say before we close her down?
Yeah, no, I just want to say thank you for being here and see you all around, and we'll do this very, very soon.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Good night, kids.
Take care.